Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Mary Rowling, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Reward Your Dentistry with a Chatbot Treat. We really appreciate you taking out some time out of your day to spend with us. So just a little bit about who we are and what we do. We're in Tiger Technologies. We've been in business for about 15 years. We develop custom IT services and have built over 500 web and mobile applications. And we implement the latest technologies such as RPA and AI, including our new bot-making platform, Bluefish. Bluefish has helped several of our customers with many different use cases like recruitment, internal employee bots, FAQ, and across several different industries like healthcare, manufacturing, and insurance. So if you have any questions or would like to learn more about our company, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help you out and answer any questions that you have. Our speaker today is Travis McCollum. He's Tiger's Chatbot Solution Consultant. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them in the QA panel in WebEx. We'll be answering questions at the end of the presentation. So if you just hold off and type them in the Q&A, we'll get to your questions at the end. And without further ado, I'll pass it on to Travis.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it. So I was at the dentist last month. And the only reason I went was because I started having some pain in my bottom right mouth in my tooth. And I said, okay, it's been 2 years since I went to the dentist. It's time that I go. So I went online and I searched on Google, dentists near me, and I looked at all these different dentists that were nearby with these star ratings that Google was giving, anything from 1 star to 5 stars. And I started reading these comments that people had on them. Eventually, I found the dentist that was a good fit for me, and I called him up. And I got on the phone, and here I am on the phone, ringing and ringing. And eventually, I get connected to a secretary who schedules an appointment for me. And eventually, I get that appointment, but it wasn't for another 2 or 3 weeks before that appointment finally happened. I get into the dentist office, and the experience overall was a good one. They took care of me. They cleaned my teeth. We had a good conversation. And I left with a nice little goodie bag with a new toothbrush and toothpaste to keep my teeth clean. So I'm sharing this story with you today because I want to express what goes through a patient's experience as they're trying to figure out when to go to the dentist. Now, you guys and girls are here today because you're looking for opportunities to improve your own business in your practice, whether it be helping to retain customers or to bring new customers on board, or maybe you're just interested in learning about technology and how you can apply it to your practice. Well, I'm really happy to talk to you about it today, and we'll go ahead and start with a little bit of an overview of just how dentists work, and then we'll jump into a neat, cool technology out there that's going to help you achieve your business goals, chatbots. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So we know that the dentistry field is very specialized across many different areas. You've got your pediatrics, which specialize in children. You've got your orthodontist, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, all of these specializations tie into very centralized number of traits that all dentists share. They're great communicators. They're trustworthy. They're easy to talk to. Heck, they even got artistic talents down the board. Really, what this tells us about dentists is y'all are people. Y'all are people that enjoy talking and communicating with these different individuals. But you also have an artistic streak where you take the time to create beautiful things with your hands, which is a really noble and awesome profession. So when we think about where do y'all want to be spending your time, right? And ultimately, it's with the patients. You love spending time talking with those patients and educating them on their oral health, and ultimately taking those do-it-yourself kind of fixer-up projects that they have with their teeth and turning them into beautiful smiles. There's nothing better than leaving the office with this white, pristine, kind of like beautiful look. Now, where you don't like spending your time is with all the management activities. And this is where you hire your staff, or maybe you have to do it yourself, and that's doing all that lead generation, attracting those patients with your marketing efforts, managing those appointments. I can't tell you the number one concern that I hear over and over again is cancellations with appointments, which we'll all jump into here in a bit. And then finally, just the payment system as a whole. Typically, there's new systems out there where people are setting up membership plans, and this is all managerial tasks that you as a dentist don't want to be spending your time doing. ET Dubs, in case you're wondering, for my own knowledge, what stomachology stands for, it is for oral medicine, and I learned a lot about dentists through this. Okay, so the day in the life of a dentist, there's really two big routes that people go, especially when you first get out of school. The first side is on the corporate side, and when you think of the daily workflow that comes with this, typically you're with a team of other dentists in a hospital or some kind of public health system, and here you are specializing in one particular area, and you're just going through patient after patient after patient. Oftentimes these are recurring patients who need like maintenance on their teeth. You also distribute and coordinate that work with the fellow dentists in the department. So maybe somebody gets sick, so now you're coming in and filling that place. On the other side, there is the private practice, and this is where we're going to focus primarily today with emerging technology, although some of it does apply in the corporate environment. But in private practice, you are not just a dentist, but you're also an entrepreneur. Because now you're spending all this time handling the business aspect on top of the technical aspect. And this goes all the way into the HR department. Here you are managing your staff down the line. And you're also meeting with other vendors out there, always looking to improve your business. So if we look at it from a very high level, where are dentists making their money? I mean, they're making it on all of the operations that they're doing with their patients, everything from those standard cleanings to the different types of fillings and crowns and all of that. And ultimately, there's two ways that those people are coming on board. A, it's through the new business that you're generating, and then B, it's through the recurring business that you're generating, because dentistry is a service. It is not a product, which is really important because people will always need oral care. So that's a really good thing for dentists because it means you're going to have job security and there's always going to be a need for your services, your subject matter expertise. But now we're going to run into this issue is how do we bring in new patients and how do we keep them on board? A couple of statistics I want to share with you today. We'll see that dentistry is growing and people that are being serviced in dentistry are all across the board, young and old. So there's no shortage of opportunity for people to work in dentistry and for people to receive dentist services. But the kicker here, and what I want to drive your attention to, is where is your money going? How is your budget being spent? And what does that look like? Because we know that one of the biggest areas that people are struggling in with right now is in the opening up the new business and maintaining a customer base that kind of evens out with that revenue and expenses operation. So here's a couple of stats to chew on today. 77% of patients are using online reviews when finding a new healthcare provider. So that means when I first decide to seek out a new dentist, I'm going to the internet. The internet has spoiled us in so many ways. I'm going on there, I'm looking at these review sites like Yelp and Google, and I'm figuring out who is the most trustworthy person to go to, who's going to fill my specific needs. Now, we got 75% of those customers that are looking not only through the internet source for those testimonies and that credentials, they're also going to other touch points across the internet like social media. So they're going to your Facebook page. If you don't have a Facebook page as a dentist, you're missing out on a market right there. but there's lots of other places like having dental networks to get involved in. So customers are going to seek that out. With a 75% chance, you can bet your bottom dollar that they'll be there. Once a customer makes contact, now we're transitioning from that marketing side into the customer service. And this is where you or your staff have such a huge impact on when you retain the attention or the business of those customers. And you can see 60% of people are being left on silent when they go on the phone. And they're just hanging up or they're moving on to the next dentist. And why is this? I mean, there could be a myriad of reasons. Maybe your call volume's too high and you're just understaffed. But this is something that is trending out there in the market right now, and it's something that needs to be addressed. And while dentistries across the board do believe that scripting is beneficial and helping people out, barely anybody's using it right now. And when you start automating processes, it leverages your manpower and your labor force and your dental hygienists and your secretaries and your dental assistants, and is giving them more meaningful work, and it's preventing them from being bogged down. So scripting and automating that is going to benefit you so much. And finally, everything that I've just talked about here, we live in a digital age. This digital transformation is all where our consumer base is living. So it only makes sense that with your practice, you as a dentist are leveraging the power of technology and capitalizing off of it to improve your own business operations across the board. Okay, so what's going on with our consumer base right now? Why are they ignoring the dental care that they want to get? Well, a big part of it is cost. Dentistry is not cheap or inexpensive by any means. We don't have the benefit of the healthcare system to pull insurance, and oftentimes things like Medicaid don't cover dental costs. So a lot of times you're paying out of pocket. However, people are adopting membership plans to help offset that cost. But the more important piece and why people aren't coming to you is that perceived lack of need to take care of their teeth. And we'll get to it in a little bit, but adults don't see a reason to go to the dentist unless it's life-threatening. And as you know in the dentist industry, that these small fixes like flossing are going to, and preventive maintenance is really what it comes down to, is going to save people on the long run. So the big challenge here now I'm asking you is, how are you going to recruit new patients into your organization? And how are you going to retain them over your lifetime? And you're looking at two big areas here. You're looking at marketing and you're looking at customer support. So when we think about the budget and how you're spending your money, obviously just the caveat, especially if you're starting new, there is the startup costs with the initial investment in building your actual place of practice. But we're going to look at the marketing side and the operating side and see how we can improve both of those areas, take those costs and put them into a higher ROI to improve your efficiency, not only monetarily, but also in employee morale as well. So let's start with marketing. So marketing is about growing a business. It's about evangelizing your brand, your company, and just getting it out to the masses and attracting their traffic to your site and to your location. So on average, if you're just starting out, you're going to be spending up to 20% of your budget to get marketing off the ground. And marketing can take a lot of different avenues. You can go into the advertising field, you can go into social media, you can even have those physical brochures that you distribute at the local grocery store. There's lots of ways that you can market out there today. Specifically, we'll touch base on Chatbots, which is a marketing branch as well. So who's your competition out there? I mean, you could say that it's the local dentist down the street, but really, it's the Best Buys, it's the Hollisters, it's the nail salons that are right down the street from you, because people, again, perceive the need to take care of their health as a low priority. So they would rather have that new shiny object the new computer, laptop with the N76 graphics card over taking care of maybe a cavity that's giving them a little bother. We know that marketing is a big thing, but there's also the operating costs. And you'll see that up to 26%, of your operating costs is actually in your personnel. I get it. You as a dentist cannot run a business all by yourself. You need the help and support of a staff. And that's going to look at your hygienist. That's going to look at your assistants for dental, and it's also going to look at maybe like secretaries. And we know that the larger your business grows, the more people you're going to have to hire, and the more money you're going to have to pay as they become more and more qualified. So we understand that if we have salary that's, if we have employees that are happy and knowledgeable and trustworthy, then our customer service is going to go really, really smooth. So when you have dental team members that are getting along, you're going to have happy customers. You're going to get those word of mouths and the referrals, which is the number one way that businesses operate universally for any industry, including dentists. But you're also going to get the retention, that reoccurring revenue, so that somebody gets a good experience at your place, they're going to come back again and again and again. We look at it and we see, based on my conversations with other dental departments and what the statistics are saying online, that there are challenges that people are facing internally in the workforce right now. And the two that I want to point out specifically for technology is in scheduling. Again, the number one problem that people have in any kind of appointment setting is the cancellations that come up over and over and over again. And I don't blame you, because I hear over and over again that people are scheduling 3 people for 1 slot because they expect that at least 2 people are going to cancel. And really, this is giving headaches to your admin staff by far. Okay, I just want to talk really briefly about all the dentist tools that are out there that we can kind of leverage to help deal with some of these customer service and some of these marketing issues. Of course, you got your electronic health records, which are also known as your customer relationship management systems, and there's a bunch of dental-specific ones out there right now. And then we also have our imaging software, and these are things that help with x-rays and any other kind of like systems that we have. Teledentistry is a growing field that I definitely recommend you look out for emerging technology. With these types of software technologies, you're able to conduct dentistry remotely. It's really cool. And then in the marketing department as well, how we're going to generate more leads and how we're going to grow our business. That's a big piece as well. And then, of course, there are opportunities to automate payment for your customers and patients so they don't always have to do it in the office. Bluefish is specifically one of our solutions we offer here, in addition to a couple other, which helps with your marketing activities. Okay, so let's talk about trends in the dentistry field. One of the great ones out there is 3D resin printing, and now we've got this ability to create resin pieces that you can make on demand in the order. That way you don't have to order them from a third party, which is really, really great. The online review systems, we talked about this a couple times now, but it is a big deal, and you really need to be leveraging your reputation across the board. And this is where you have somebody who's going to be that brand ambassador for you, and maybe it is one of your staff members. Group practices is a growing trend as well. Here, a lot of dentists are collaborating with other dentists and building practices together as a team. And finally, this is a big piece that's been trending with the Children's Health Insurance Program, which had an extension up until 2024. Now, especially with funding and ways to make dentistry more affordable, at least in the pediatrics and the children environment, this is an opportunity to really capitalize your dentistry to bring in those leads and to promote what kind of opportunities exist out there by educating your audience. And particularly in the chip and online review systems, again, here is an area that chatbots can really step in and help out. So let's talk about chatbots. I'm sure you've experienced one in your lifetime somewhere. In a nutshell, it really is a conversational element, a conversational interface that exists in a chat box or text-based window. Now, Bluefish specifically is text-based, but I'll tell you that chatbots are also voice-based. So you can think of Alexa or Siri as a chatbot as well. But ultimately, it's connecting your brand, your private practice with your customers, whether that be your employees internally, or it could be online with visitors coming to your website. Now, one way I like to describe it is, let's say you're going to the local supermarket, and there's somebody giving away free samples of a product or service. And they are not giving the product or service themselves, but they're being the conduit that's connecting you to it. And that's exactly how chatbots operate. Chatbots are growing mainstream across many, many industries. And these are just a couple of things to consider down the line. But more specifically, when we're thinking of dentists, we're looking at the marketing aspect and the customer service aspect. How are chatbots bridging that gap? And I've got some examples I want to show you just to kind of illustrate a scenario where a chatbot can benefit your business. In this first use case, we've got somebody that has gone through the vetting, and they're trying to determine who they want to go to for their dentist. Now, Johnny has found this chatbot on your website, and the chatbot's here in the bottom right of the corner, and it just pops up, and it has this chat box window, and it starts by greeting them, "Hey, can I get your name?" And Johnny's introducing himself. So now the bot's starting a conversation. It's engaging in an interactive approach. And now the chatbot's gathering important details about Johnny, like his name and his number. That way, the chatbot is making sure that Johnny knows this is a personal conversation, a one-on-one, that he actually cares about Johnny. But B, all this information that the chatbot is collecting is going straight to your EHR system. So now you've got this database of these potential patients that you can reach out to at a later date and connect with them for maybe a marketing email campaign or a follow-up survey on, why they chose them or didn't choose them. Now, Johnny has been wanting to know a little bit more about your company, and maybe it's 2 a.m. in the morning, maybe everybody else is asleep, maybe you don't have staff on board to help them out. So now Johnny's having this conversation where he's asking about treatments, and the bot's telling him about the different treatments. Now Johnny got tied in. He's like, ooh, you can do cleanings. Oh, how much does that cost? Because price is always a big factor for anything, as we talked about with just healthcare in general. Bam, the bot tells the price right there. So right now, Johnny is getting the exact feedback that he wants in real time to make an informed decision. Now that he's got this information and now he knows it's in his budget, he can schedule an appointment with the doctor or dentist to go ahead and bring in the business. So the bot's facilitating that by scheduling the appointment, looking into your calendar system, and connecting you all together. Okay, let's look at it from a customer service point of view. Again, one of the biggest issues that people face is cancellations. So a typical cancellation may come, and now we're having the chatbot come in here and to manage that cancellation workflow for you. And it's trying to find a better alternative to help prevent a straight-up cancellation. Maybe they want to reschedule, so at least you're keeping them in the loop. Or maybe they don't have the money. Now the bot's educating them on options to keep the money. This is really, really great because the bot is keeping this engagement and it's trying to address pain points so that you don't lose business just because of this. But the best part of all of this is it is in real time, so your calendar is going to be updated. And let's be honest, a lot of times people are lazy and they don't want to call via phone. There's a big trend going in consumer behavior where they prefer text as their preferred medium of conversation. Tell me the last time that you maybe got on the phone and called somebody for a personal conversation. It doesn't happen too often nowadays, and this is just the way that people are reacting right now. Another area I mentioned was on payments. Chatbots can also do payments through the chat system as well, where people can check their account balance in case they're doing some kind of bill as well. So this is a great way for a bot to facilitate that process as well. And you also notice at the very bottom that there's some asterisks. One of the big concerns that exists in healthcare is with like HIPAA requirements and security and all of this authentication. So bots have the ability to also protect user privacy so that that kind of information doesn't get leaked out. So you can see just a quick snapshot of what some of those workflows may look like in a chatbot interaction. If we look at scheduling, for instance, it all starts with the user coming on board, talking with the chatbot talking with your calendar system, whether it be Office 365 or some other one. Then the chatbot sends a notification to the user, sends a notification to the nurse, and now your dentist assistant sees that there's a new scheduled appointment coming up. And you can see this across the board in all these interactions. On the FAQ, user interacts with chatbot, chatbot answers questions. Nice Q&A process. Lead generation side, user interacts with the chatbot, chatbot plugs it into your EHR, shoots a notification to your dental assistant to follow up with that. And finally, with payment, user interacts with the chatbot, chatbot goes through your payment gateway, chatbot collects all that information and distributes money where it belongs, such as your bank. Okay, so who is benefiting most? Patients. Patients are your number one priority, and at the end of the day, if your patients are happy, you're going to be happy, and everybody's going to be happy. So think about those big three things we talked about. What are preventing patients from coming in? Why are they so scared about dentists? Solve their cost issues, solve their perceived need issues, address the different issues like lack of time, difficulty traveling. Basically, be convenient for your patients. And when you bring that convenience and that interactivity and that engagement and that greatness, then your patients will appreciate your business over your competitor's business is so much more. Okay, so couple problems that I want to address with technology adoption. The first one is that patients may not trust artificial intelligence in healthcare because health is such an intimate and critical part in anybody's lives. They want to make sure that they're being taken care of correctly. So your job, if you were to adopt a chatbot solution, is to inform them about how the AI works in the healthcare innovation and to really be transparent across the board. And this also goes into your staff, which I think is the next one. Yeah, so when employees think about, AI, they often get scared because they're like, oh, the robot's going to take over my job and I won't have anywhere to work. But really, it's about augmenting their positions. Chatbots are here to help with the repetitive task and to automate a lot of the redundancy in the system. They cannot handle a lot more of the complex duties that are out there. And ultimately, they will always need a human to manage and train them to take care of it. There's definitely a lot of hype in AI. You can think of it in artificial general intelligence with Terminator and The Matrix and iRobot. But if you think about the practical use of chatbots, as long as you are specializing in one area, which, by the way, is how AI is most effective, then that clearly defined digital strategy is going to set your AI projects up for success. And finally, how are you going to measure the ROI on your AI transformation? That is a big question because at the end of the day, you want to know that it's performing as intended. And this is where you need to set together your requirements and determine what exactly do I want to achieve. And when you know what you want to achieve and you know how the technology works to achieve that, then you can measure it with that groundwork and get the results that you want. Future applications, we know that healthcare AI is inevitable. It's coming and it's growing, and there's tons of money that is just building off of it. We know that decision makers are continuing to invest more and more time into it, and we know that anybody that's leveraging AI right now is gaining a competitive advantage against their other people in their industry. Now in the future, we'll definitely be seeing a little bit more VR and AR as emerging technology, and chatbots, specifically in the AI space, are integrating more and more with the Internet of Things. So people that have tools out there in their home are going to be able to communicate with your dental practice from their home, which is where chatbots come in as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Travis. We're going to just have a quick Q&A session, just a couple questions I see here. Let's start with how do I measure the success or failure of chatbots?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll speak specifically for Bluefish.ai. We have a chatbot analytics dashboard where you can look into the traffic of your chatbots with users on any given day. And the best part about it is you can look into those transcripts for the individual conversations line item by line item. And from there, you can decide where are the disconnects with the goal settings that we set aside. So if one of your goals is to have the chatbot schedule an appointment with the user, you can actually physically go in there and measure that conversation until you can find where the chatbot's disconnecting with them. And then as a human trainer, you go in there and train it. It's a super powerful tool, full of data, and the more users you have and the more data you feed the chatbots, the more it's going to offer in terms of analytics and ROI.
Okay, great. Here's another one. How much do chatbots usually cost?
Okay. Chatbots are actually free to build. The problem is that unless you're a programmer, a lot of the integration touch points from the basic functionality of chat, when you're looking at things like lead generation, connecting with your CRM or EHR system, or areas like appointment scheduling with your calendar systems, that's when price can really start to shoot up. And typically, when it comes to chatbot creation, that initial fee can be where it's most expensive. But there are systems out there that can augment that labor for you. What the big kicker is, and what I really like to stress to people on the price of chatbots, especially ongoing maintenance with chatbots, because chatbots are a living, breathing virtual employee that live on your site, is what we call in the software industry software as a service, because they live on the cloud and they're managed through the cloud. And you're typically looking at a monthly subscription rate. So when you think of chatbot price, it comes down to having a monthly subscription rate, but also an initial implementation fee for the expertise of integration from a programmer's perspective.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Last one, how long does it take to make a chatbot?
I have seen chatbots be built in as short as a day. Let's be honest. A couple hours, you could easily put together a simple Q&A process with the chatbot. But typically, when you're looking at business use cases, a chatbot created from scratch, like a good chatbot, can be anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks. And that is including everything from your personality development to the branding to the dialogue flow and even that personalization with first names.
Okay, thank you so much, Travis. And thank you all again for spending some time with us today. Please, if you have any questions about what we discussed today, or if you have any questions about Bluefish, please give us a call. Our phone number is here and our email address as well. And you will also be receiving a copy of this recording and our deck in your email, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you again for your time, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.